In the barren desert near the Dead Sea, silence rules. The landscape looks timeless: sand, rock, and scattered caves carved into limestone cliffs. It was here, in 1947, that a wandering Bedouin shepherd changed history by accident. Searching for a lost goat, he tossed a stone into a cave and heard not an echo, but the crash of pottery. Inside that cave, wrapped in linen and sealed inside clay jars, lay scrolls that had been untouched for 2,000 years. These scrolls, written in Hebrew, Aramaic, and Greek, would ignite decades of debate. Who wrote them? Why were they hidden? And what secrets of religion, politics, and human history do they contain? Today they are known as the Dead Sea Scrolls, but in many ways their mystery has only deepened with time. The first scrolls were found in what we now call Cave 1, near Qumran. Once scholars realized the find's importance, a full-scale search began. Over the next decade, 11 caves were excavated, producing nearly 1,000 separate manuscripts, though most survived only in fragments. Imagine piecing together a puzzle where most of the pieces are missing, and the image is written in a language few can read. That has been the task of scholars for more than 70 years. The scrolls were sold piecemeal on the black market at first, sometimes winding up in the hands of collectors who didn't understand their importance. Some were even advertised in American newspapers under the headline, "Biblical Manuscripts Dating Back to the Time of Christ for Sale." Slowly, universities and museums worked to recover and preserve them. But the cloak and dagger beginnings only added to the aura of mystery. The contents of the Dead Sea Scrolls fall into three main categories. First, biblical texts. Nearly every book of the Hebrew Bible is represented, except for the book of Esther. These are the oldest surviving versions of these scriptures, more than 1,000 years older than any previously known copies. Second, sectarian writings. Rules, regulations, hymns, and prayers that describe the daily life and beliefs of a mysterious community. One scroll, called the Community Rule, lays out strict rules for purity, ritual bathing, and communal living. Another, the War Scroll, describes an apocalyptic battle between the sons of light and the sons of darkness. Third, there are non-biblical texts, commentaries, calendars, and even mystical writings. These show how fluid and diverse Jewish thought was during this time, challenging the idea that Judaism of the Second Temple period was a single, unified faith. The mainstream theory is that the Essenes, a Jewish sect living near Qumran, were the authors. Ancient historians like Josephus and Philo describe the Essenes as strict, disciplined, and dedicated to purity. The ruins near Qumran, communal dining halls, ritual baths, and scriptoriums seem to match this description. But this theory isn't universally accepted. Some scholars argue the scrolls may have been written by Sadducees, a priestly group from Jerusalem who fled during the chaos of the Roman invasion around 70 CE. Others believe the scrolls are a collection from multiple groups gathered and hidden in the caves to protect them from destruction. And of course, fringe theories thrive. Some claim the scrolls contain evidence of early Christianity, even hidden teachings of Jesus. While these claims are not supported by mainstream scholarship, the secrecy surrounding the scrolls' early study fueled endless speculation. This question remains one of the greatest mysteries. Were they hidden by a religious community expecting persecution? Were they sacred texts stored away for safekeeping as Roman armies marched through Judea? Or were they a kind of archive, deliberately concealed for future generations? The act of sealing them in jars and burying them in caves was deliberate. Whoever placed them there intended them to be preserved. But why? Were they safeguarding wisdom, protecting their identity, or hiding dangerous ideas from authorities? Each theory says as much about the interpreters as it does about the scrolls themselves. After their discovery, the scrolls entered decades of restricted access. A small group of scholars controlled them, allowing only limited publication. This secrecy sparked rumors that the scrolls contained explosive revelations suppressed by religious authorities. In the 1960s and 70s, books claimed the Vatican was hiding references to Jesus, or that the scrolls undermined Christianity's origins. None of this was true, but the fact that the scrolls were locked away only encouraged conspiracy theories. It wasn't until the 1990s that photographs of the scrolls were finally released widely. Today, anyone can access high-resolution images online. Ironically, once the secrecy ended, most of the more dramatic conspiracy claims fell apart. Yet the aura of mystery has never disappeared. Beyond conspiracy, the scrolls genuinely transformed our understanding of history. They show that Judaism in the centuries before Christ was not a single tradition, but a patchwork of sects with competing ideas. They reveal that apocalyptic expectation, the belief that the world was on the brink of divine intervention, was widespread. This context helps explain the environment into which Christianity was born. The language of Messiah's judgment and a cosmic battle between good and evil wasn't new with Jesus. It was already alive in the Jewish world. The scrolls don't rewrite Christianity, but they place it firmly in its historical setting. And yet, they also expand our view of Jewish thought. Texts like the Thanksgiving hymns show a deeply personal spirituality, while others focus on strict law, cosmic visions, or mystical speculation. Together, they paint a portrait of a society wrestling with faith, identity, and survival in a turbulent world. For all we've learned, major mysteries remain. Why is the Book of Esther missing? Why are some texts copied multiple times while others appear only once? Who exactly was the teacher of righteousness, and who opposed him as the wicked priest? Were these actual historical figures or symbolic titles? And perhaps most importantly, why Qumran? Why this desolate location, and why caves instead of permanent libraries? Was it desperation, secrecy, or a deliberate plan for preservation? Today, the Dead Sea Scrolls are preserved in the Shrine of the Book in Jerusalem, studied by scholars worldwide and digitized for global access. They are among the greatest archaeological treasures ever discovered. For some, they represent the continuity of Scripture across millennia. For others, they symbolize lost wisdom, hidden until the modern world was ready. For conspiracy theorists, they remain tantalizing evidence of truths suppressed. But above all, they are human voices. Writers, scribes, and believers from 2,000 years ago left these texts behind. Through them, we hear echoes of their hopes, fears, and visions of the future. The Dead Sea Scrolls remind us of how fragile history is. If not for chance, they might have stayed buried forever. How many other treasures still lie hidden beneath desert sands or mountain caves? In the end, the scrolls don't give us final answers. They give us fragments, puzzles, and glimpses into a world both familiar and alien. And maybe that is their true gift. Not certainty, but mystery. Because mysteries keep us searching, questioning, and reaching back across centuries to connect with the past.